The readings are inviting us to reflect on the mystery of the love of God, the love that God has for us. This love that God has for us as the human race, severally and individually, is beyond our comprehension. The love of God for you and I is immeasurable and is a mystery. We have covered already more than half of the period of Lent, a time when we prepare our hearts and our lives for the worthy celebration of the Passover, the Paschal mystery. And we know too well that central to the Paschal mystery is the love of God. Our first reading today from the prophet Isaiah testifies to this immeasurable love of God for us, his human beings, but also for the whole of creation. He comforts the remnant of the house of Israel that he answers them at the time of favor and helps them on the day of salvation. The Israelites had suffered a great deal of humiliation during the exilic time. This exile, as we know, lasted for several decades, and it was only reasonable for them to convince themselves that God had forgotten them, that he never cared for their welfare. The prophet Isaiah in today's first reading tells them, can a mother forget her baby who is suckling, or a woman the child in her womb? He adds that even if these do so, I can never forget you, my own. What a great assurance of the immeasurable love of God for us, his creatures. There comes moments when our dreams and aspirations are shattered, when hope is lost and light turns into darkness. We too, like the Israelites, are more inclined to concluding that God has abandoned us. Some of us can even reach to the level of doubting his existence. Last year, the other farming season, when we had a serious drought, I know many Christians in Zambia reached this point. Does really God exist? Does God care? Others may not doubt the existence of God, but they may question his concern for us. He is there, yeah, but he doesn't care about us. In the first reading, the prophet is assuring you and I that at a time of favor, God answers. And on the day of salvation, he will help us. Those are words of assurance from the prophet Isaiah. The mystery of the love of God for mankind was ultimately unveiled in the Christ event, starting from conception to his death on the cross and his resurrection. This is what we call the Christ event. Now, the Christ event was marked by incidences of conflict that kept unfolding from one level to the other, up to its culmination to his death on the cross and his resurrection. That is the Christ event. These conflicts are a push factor that God uses or God used to accomplish the demonstration of His great love for us. Sometimes God causes the hardening and the stubbornness of the heart so as to prove His might, like in the case of Pharaoh, we remember very well. St. Paul, the apostle, in his letter to the Romans in chapter 3 up to chapter 5, labors to bring out this point, how God sometimes hardens the hearts of some section of the human race so that He is able to bring out His purpose. There's a song that we like singing in the Lenten season. Yangu abayuda balwani baipera Yesu mwana mulungu kwa bulo mulando. And we like singing it. This brings some anti-Jewish stereotyping, anti-Jewish biases. For you and I, we need to move away from that level. That is just how God operates, that He allows the Jews to harden their hearts in order to bring out His purpose. Consider yourself, if we put ourselves in the shoes of the Jews, I think the Jews were even much better than us. This is a guy who comes on the scene from nowhere. I'm talking about Jesus Christ. He comes, somebody that you have known, you know his mother, you know his brothers and his sisters, you have seen him grow. He comes in the church and claims to be God. Will you take it? Honestly speaking, he equates himself on the same level of God, that he has the authority to give judgment, that he's the Son of God, that he has a special relationship with God than the rest of you. It wasn't easy for the Jews to stomach that. That's why I say, perhaps our friends, the Jews, they even did better. Because if it was here in Zambia, he was going to be shot by the C5 before even seeing the walls of the courts of law. We have better ways of dealing away with problematic people, which are quicker and swifter. He wouldn't even have reached far to the audience of Pontius Pilate. He would have been eliminated before that stage. So there is no need to stereotype, to have anti-Jewish feelings because of the way they treated Jesus. God Himself allows it to happen like that. As we draw near to the Paschal feast, perhaps it will be good to allow ourselves to submerge ourselves in this immeasurable love of God. We need to check our desires and priorities in life. How much have I allowed the love of God to determine my choices in my day-to-day life?